You're listening to the Board Game Snobs podcast, a ridiculous podcast with ridiculous hosts that discuss ridiculous things. And any mention of board games is purely coincidental. And so, without further ado, and with a heavy dollop of shame and embarrassment on my part, I give you the Board Game Snobs.
And go.
Yes, welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. This is Jerry, and Enrique is not here.
That's sad.
Not back yet. From Mexico.
He's been down there a good long while.
He's been there. Maybe we need to send a ransom. Proof of life is what we need before we'll send any money. Quit sending us those emails. We're not going to come.
He's on the phone right now.
Who?
Enrique.
Hello there.
That's not him. I know that better than him. What if Enrique did get kidnapped? Hey, let me ask you a question. This is Gobby's here too, the host.
I'm here as well. Ignore the computer sounds.
What if Enrique got kidnapped? Would you go down to fight, let's say, the cartels, multiple cartels, to save him? You have you have skills. You could drive me.
I live.
I don't need to save him. You know why?
I live.
Stop it! We're not doing a soundboard, Enrique. What are you doing with the soundboard of Enrique?
He's precious. You got to have him.
Precious.
Because someday he may be gone, but yet I can play.
I live.
That's true. That is very true. That is very true.
And you know who else is with us?
Who?
I'm Dan Hughes.
Oh, God.
Welcome, Dan.
I'm really getting to where he's getting on my nerves.
How dare you?
He's getting on my... Every time you have him on the show, you're always like, oh, Terry Crumpets, I'm going to dance some bossa nova.
Dan's my number one guy.
Yeah, salad cream and such.
We're going to be back to basics again on this episode. As the previous episode, I believe we got back to basics. We had, the banter section, some other segments. We were segmented.
Whew, that was good.
And I believe in segments, such as...
Banter segment, engage.
Or else, how do I know where I'm at? Now I know what part of the show I'm in.
Are we bantering?
And banter, engage.
Do you have something to banter about?
Oh, okay, sure.
Get your phone and your
What
personality.
is what? There's a difference between having something to look at for reference purposes and it being my... Look, I told you we weren't going to fight.
I'm not fighting.
But you're trying to trigger
I
me.
didn't trigger you at all. I can't trigger something I haven't pulled. Go ahead.
My leg.
I haven't done
with
nothing.
any jokes.
I haven't done anything. I've done nothing.
What spider spins the biggest web?
The one that lies the most.
Natasha Romanoff. Black Widow.
I knew that because I don't watch Marvel. But there was something I looked up once, and then all of a sudden she was on my...
radar.
All the time. Like she kept popping up on my Facebook. YouTube.
Oh.
Like for some reason. I don't know why. I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
Now there is certain...
Black Widows.
Yes. I've almost been bitten by a Black Widow.
I've heard once bitten, twice shy.
It's not... And I
think those were bats, though.
I don't know if that's what that was.
I think it was bats. In the belfry.
I was actually not referring to the arachnid.
Or is it free?
But
free the bats.
To rather a cougar.
Ooh. Yes. You were bitten by a cougar?
No, I don't think...
Your wife's not that much older than you.
I don't think... Did you get my references? Anyways, continue on, Mr. Romanovsky.
Do you know?
No.
What spider spins the biggest web?
It's not the daddy long legs because he don't spin no webs because he doesn't lie. Because I trust him the most, which is weird.
Do those legs go all the way up? That's what I ask every time one walks by.
What I want to know is why did they say...
To the thorax.
Why the daddy long leg?
Do humans have a thorax?
Why is it the daddy... Yes, they do have a thorax.
So then you could ask, do those legs go all the way up to your thorax? That would be quite the line.
Of course they
Look
do.
at the thorax on that one.
Why not just long legs? Why? Oh, cellar spiders.
I tell you, I think they're
Why do
trying
they
to make
go-
them sexy. Look at them long legs. Because long legs are equated to sexiness. Am I incorrect?
But why they call them daddy long legs?
They should be called zaddy long legs. Am I right?
I don't know what that means.
Like the Pedro Pascal of spiders.
Zaddy?
Yes.
What does that mean?
We had this discussion 3 weeks ago.
I really don't remember it. But people keep saying, first off, I heard somebody at work just today, I don't know if I told you this, said they refer to him as granddaddy long legs.
I used to call them that when I was a child.
They're not granddaddy long legs. They're just daddy long legs. And then they went to say that their jaws are so small that it can't bite you.
I've always heard that if they could actually bite you, they would kill you because their poison is so strong.
And I've told you that that's a lie. I looked that up. And here's the thing. There's no basis at all for that. They're not venomous of any kind. There's 3 different unrelated groups called daddy long legs, and they have no venom, none of them. So even their distant cousins
No venom.
have
None of them.
no suffocation from these daddy long legs. So why
They get a bad rap. Why would someone spread those
which is
false...
basically Papa Roach's issue. Why is it that all of these are named after men and they're not any good?
Black Widow.
Black Widow's awesome.
That's a woman.
But all male version of insectides,
What other male version is there you can think of right off the top of your
Papa
head?
Roach, Daddy Longlegs,
Father.
Time. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff like that I don't think that
Uncle
they-
Scrooge is a duck.
he,
And he's greedy.
ducks are awesome. I like ducks.
All
Get to
right.
your banter. I'm sorry, I
So
interrupted you.
the spider that spins the biggest web,
The one that doesn't lies,
not of lies, but of silk, out of its
silk spinning rectum.
thorax. Darwin's bark spider.
I knew that.
Or, I can't say the scientific name, so
There's
I'm
no
going to
need.
try.
Nobody's going to look that up.
Darwin's bark spider is an orb weaver spider that produces the largest known orb webs, ranging from 900 to 28,000 square centimeters. Nobody understands centimeters in America?
Just divide by 3, and that's inches.
140 to 4,340 square inches,
How many? Give me a big number.
with bridge lines spanning up to 25 meters or 82 feet.
Good Lord.
100
What does it need that big web? What is it
to
like?
catch stuff?
What is it trying to catch?
Snacks.
But you don't need that big of an area. Why is it spinning so much? That's
You'd have to ask the bark spider.
Well,
What voice would you give a bark spider?
it doesn't have any bite.
DMX.
X gonna
I'm
give it to
slipping,
you.
But he's not slipping and falling on that web.
he's not.
He is catching stuff.
He's catching stuff. But X gonna give it to you. We don't know what
He
he's...
is not going to lose his mind up in that web.
We never knew what he was going to give. I want to know.
These are solid references, and if you don't get them, I'm sorry.
I just remember Shake Your Tail Feathers from the Bad
That is-
Boys.
That is not him.
Who's that?
That is the guy. That is Nelly with the bandage across his
That's true.
cheekbone
He
right
went
down here below your eye.
He did
Shake
boom.
your tail. I think that's Nelly.
But they caught Tupac's killer.
I saw that. Okay, no, that came out. This about a month after that occurred.
That's true, but it's still
But
relevant.
they went after him. Are we 100% sure?
We don't know. Let's not be spreading allegations.
Okay.
Allegations, no evidence. Okay? We don't want that because that's something Papa Roach would do.
We don't want that.
And we don't want that.
Okay, so I had asked you that trivia question because I had some more trivia to ask you as
I
part of
know
our
you
banter
love-
segment because
okay.
I love trivia. David!
Alan.
What kind of bird is the mascot for Fruit Loops?
That's a toucan.
Are you sure?
No, but there's different types of, I will say, in air quotes, toucan.
I mean, I know he's
Because
Toucan Sam.
Yeah, but he's not necessarily
I
a
don't
toucan.
think he's a toucan. I think it's a trick
he's-
question.
I think he's actually a type of parrot.
Okay, well, they went the easy route. It is Toucan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, so did they not think? Who eats Fruit Loops? I'm
Not
going to say
me.
this, that all Fruit Loops taste the same. There's no difference in flavor from
Just like tricks.
Now, tricks, I feel the same way about that. Cereal. Okay, my wife refers to me as the serial killer. I used to think that she thought that she was married to Jeffrey Dahmer. The fact is, we can't buy cereal in my home because I eat it. She has now resorted to having the children hide cereal in my house. In my house. They hide it. My daughter has cereal hidden in her closet so that she doesn't.
Because you don't snack on it.
Because I don't snack on it. Which is different because I haven't been snacking on it because I'm on the carnivore diet. Either way, I love cereal. I will eat this protein type cereal now that we have that doesn't taste like, your normal store-bought sugary cereal.
Have you had grape nuts?
I eat grape nuts raw with no milk.
See, I'm not a cereal guy.
My gums bleed.
We've had this
That's how
discussion.
serious I am about cereal.
We've had this discussion before.
We have. What is your favorite cereal? I don't remember.
Cocoa Puffs. But
Of
here's
course,
the thing.
something generic.
I grew up on
Round.
shredded wheat, bran flakes,
Love shredded
corn
wheat.
flakes,
Love it. Love it.
and non-sweetened Cheerios. And I'm giving the name brand of the actual items I ate.
I love it. I'll eat them all.
Whatever it was, great value, that's what we
Here's the
actually
thing.
had.
Yeah, we didn't read. Yeah.
It
The
wasn't
bag. It didn't come
until...
in a box
Correct.
because we're an anti-box. You can't fit us in a box.
Don't put me in a box.
Captain Crunch.
As Bow Wow said on Tokyo Drift, I tear it up.
Captain Crunch would make my gums bleed. I would still eat it. They
Isn't
did
that
that.
like a sign of gingivitis or something?
What's that? Is that what you
Like
have
gum disease?
when you're winning?
Yeah,
Because that's
sure.
what I have. I've got
Winning the gum wars.
I've got the gingivitis. Is what
Yes.
I've got.
No,
My
I
friend
like.
Ginger out there. I got the vitis.
I really like. And okay, here's the thing. So growing up with my brother, it was too expensive to buy name brand cereals for
People
us.
grow up with one's brother.
I
Generally,
mean, my brother left when I was 12, so then I proceeded to grow up without a brother.
General Mills.
I mean, he was there.
General Mills. That's a cereal brand.
A General Meal is breakfast with cornflakes.
Continue your boring story.
But then mother decided to buy me
Mother.
Tricks, Cocoa Puffs,
Tricks is good.
and honeycomb.
Now, honeycombs is some legit because you taste the honey.
Honeycomb. I was fixing to say, I said Cocoa Puffs, but I love
I eat that honeycomb. I hadn't had honeycombs in a long time.
because it's pure
It's pure sugar.
It's pure
Which,
sugar.
honey,
So that was my thing. The reason I
which
don't
is
eat...
not a... Now, honey...
Yeah, it's not just you like talking to me. Like, honey. No, I'm not listening.
Honey?
No.
Great show, by the way. Not really.
I Shrunk the Kids.
The honey is actually bee vomit.
Mooners.
So it's not exactly a animal product for which you could eat if one was on the carnivore diet, which I'm not pro meat. I'm just trying to do an exclusionary thing right now
Right.
to try to figure out what's causing me to have such inflammation.
No breathing.
Yes. And so perhaps it's vegetables, perhaps it's fruit, perhaps it's something, I don't know. What is this allergy that has me?
What allergy, like, what is your reaction?
I swell, and that is not swell.
Not like, it's okay.
No,
That's
it's
swell.
it's bad.
You're talking about swollen.
Swollen. And I've been trying to
But you weren't swole, like working out.
I've been trying to get swole. I've been working out. I've been doing a lot of that not just stretching. I've been stretching a whole lot.
But I don't know that stretching will get you swole.
It will.
Really?
Yes, it does, because it does the same thing. It damages the basically when you work out, you're damaging the muscles and they're
Right.
repairing themselves. And since you're eating so much protein, they repair themselves. They get bigger upward. But by stretching, you're elongating the muscle.
Elastic Man.
Elastic Man. I intend to be not the who was the Elastic Man that died? Was that Konieczka off The Office? Didn't he die? Wasn't he a Fantastic Four?
Krasinski.
He died. He died, didn't he?
There's a Plastic Man,
No, that's the Rubber Band.
and then
Man.
there's the Elongated Man.
the Rubber Band Man.
He was Mr. Fantastic.
What was so fantastic about him? Because he could stretch
His brain.
his neuroplasticity of his brain.
Yeah. His brain stretched.
I never realized that just then. He's elastic. He stretched neuroplasticity. He was that smart. That's
you
a
go.
thing. I didn't realize that.
There you go. See, Marvel is very meta.
I don't know if it's that meta.
The comic books were probably more meta than you might give them credit for.
I don't know.
Those are some smart people writing
I don't
those
read
things.
comic books. I really have trouble reading comic books.
I love the idea of comic books.
I don't like
and I've
reading
purchased like big, like bound volumes of them, and I start reading them. Like, I don't know if they're 70s or 80s, they're real hard to get through.
Really misogynist.
Real hard to get through. That's true as well.
There's a lot of stuff that started then that we.
That is
and it's not that
true.
I'm against misogyny, but I am
You should be
because I like women, unlike some people.
pro
here.
massage,
I love massages.
anti-misogyny.
Yes. Do you know how hard that is to be pro massage but anti misogyny?
I don't think it's that hard.
It's not. I was just making sure. You bigot. Keep going.
What zodiac sign is the Joker in the movie Batman?
He's a Leo.
Pisces.
I don't know. I don't believe.
What
in
is
any of
the
that.
oldest operating
why did you
amusement?
ask me that? I
This
don't
is
know.
trivia. I'm asking
Oh, so you're
trivia.
just asking stupid stuff that
Here
I
we
can't
go.
possibly know. Go
Under
ahead.
geography, under randomtriviagenerator.com.
Oh, random.
What is the oldest operating amusement park in the United States?
Where did the shmoo?
I'm not going to click on it because if I click on it, it shows me answer. I'm going to take my guess.
In Arkansas. The shmoo. Remember the shmoo?
I'm going to say
dog patch.
I'm going to say is it Cedar Rapids, Ohio?
That's probably more correct.
Incorrect. Lank Compounce Amusement Park, Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yes.
There's like 4 people that live there. Next.
Where did Ichabod Crane reside?
He was the Ichabod. He's the headless horseman. No,
Correct. Well,
is
he's
he?
not the headless horseman.
He's the dude.
He's the guy that the headless horseman was chasing.
He's from Jersey. I don't know.
I'm going to say,
Where's Johnny Depp from? Pasadena.
I'm going to say
I said Jersey.
Huddersfield. Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, that's a
God.
trick question.
We were way too into it.
We knew how. Oh,
What is Ace Ventura's occupation in the movies by the same name?
he's a pet detective.
Look at you. Okay.
Einhart.
Speaking of which, what shape is produced by bees when constructing a honeycomb?
Hexagon.
Are you sure?
No, it's a comb. It's a. I said hexagon, but it's actually a thing that I'm not producing right now in my brain.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's a hexagon.
6 is 6 a hexagon.
Hex.
Penta is 5.
Duh. Because that's
Octa
what the Satanists
is 8.
say.
I think hexagon might be right. Hexagon. You are
I
correct,
knew
sir.
I was right. Why'd you connect? Why did you doubt me?
I was making you doubt yourself. Okay, so that has been it for the banter segment.
Wow, this was lit.
You know, some people enjoy trivia. I do.
I don't.
Because they like to hear people ask the questions and in their minds they're guessing. They're like, yeah, I got that right.
So is this a cheap way to keep our audience engaged?
Maybe it is, David.
David!
Maybe it is.
Get off our
You know what?
back.
So sue me. Sometimes I just can't think of something off the top of my head to keep you thoroughly entertained the entire time.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not, Maximus?
No, they're not. Because David basically said that you shouldn't be doing this, and I don't like it either.
David's not the boss of me, though.
But I'm 50%.
And no one is.
I'm 50% of this, and I can't stop you because you want to do this.
I won't stop.
I don't know. I wish you would because it's kind of odd.
I'm stopping right now. Now you proceed with your words.
I went to Greyland Greyjoy, Gilded Greyland. That I told you about it previously on a previous podcast, like 2 or 3 podcasts ago. Where Chris.
How many words can you get wrong in a paragraph?
Wow.
You went to the Gilded Greyland, part owned by listener Christopher Preston.
Thank you. And his friend Matthew.
Or as the British say, Matthew. Why are there TH's F's?
I don't know.
We watched this show called The Midwife, and generally I think it's like a...
Wait a minute. Is there
like if
a
there's
top wife and a bottom wife? Why is there just... Oh, pregnancy. Got it.
midwifery.
Midwifery. Sorry.
If there is like a...
There's contractors coming.
You hate to classify.
I'll classify. Who's your midwife?
Like, you know, I don't think the Queen says, Matthew. I don't think she says that.
What did she say?
Matthew.
Why would she say?
Actually, she's dead.
She's
She doesn't say anything.
This is her saying Matthew.
This is her. Well said, Queen. R.I.P.
Bravo. Listen, you
That
made
is-
fun of
that
the
is real.
head. That was the head of their
Head
of their
The
everything.
monarch,
Yes,
like the butterfly.
and when a butterfly flaps its wings, there might be a hurricane somewhere else.
It could be in a future
Chaos
theory. It's theoretical.
We don't know. Chaos. But you should make fun of the queen seriously.
I did not.
But you didn't.
But she is dead. There's no denying that.
R.I.P. She is dead.
I wonder what the view is of the King Charles. Because people weren't real fans of Prince Charles. They kind of viewed him as like a spoiled brat the entire time. Are there any fans of King Charles?
I think, and I would like to borrow a term, stay in your lane.
As two folks from Oklahoma and Texas
I would like,
discuss the
'cause I'd like
royalty.
I will say that if you go back to
I will say,
oh boy,
to be fair,
on a previous podcast, I mentioned that Miss Markle had the #1 podcast. It's now defunct. She did. She defunct it. It's gone.
Well,
because it was just terms about stuff that it was awful. That podcast was awful. And
I never listened to it.
I did.
I don't
because
listen to
I love women.
opposing podcasts.
I love women.
Other than sporadically bored.
They don't oppose us.
We're not wizards.
I don't even know what that is.
Is that a podcast?
They still have a podcast?
5 games for a doomsday.
I don't even listen to that.
Sometimes the BGB.
I don't listen
They
to it.
know who they are because
I
they're so
turn it on
freaking huge right now. Mark don't probably even listen to us anymore.
Who?
Mark, if you still listen, Mr. Green Tank,
Oh, that
let me
tank.
know.
He's a tank.
He don't listen anymore.
You know what would be great? If I could go on their podcast, because I think
You will not be invited.
I wouldn't be invited. Mark would just have to sneak me on.
Sure, we've invited Mark several times.
I'll
We've
be the-
invited Kellen several
I'll be
times.
the-
We have not invited Neil, and that's just because I don't know why we haven't done that.
Is
But
there a-
he's free to come on our show, and we're discussing a podcast that pretends we don't exist.
Is there a white tank? I'm the white tank.
I'm sure there is. They went through all the colors.
I'm the chartreuse tank. No, I'm the...
Shark Tank.
Yes! That's what I am! Because I come up with all the ideas. I'm the shark tank.
And at the very end, you can just say fiend
Shark fiend?
of the episode
Fiend?
because it's shark fin, but also in French, it means the end.
Oh, yeah.
That was a dual layered joke.
Speaking of French makes me think of Canadians. I haven't heard from Bruno. Is he okay? We don't talk about him. But is he okay?
See, this is the thing. This is something that happens to me on this podcast. Is I get attached to certain listeners.
There's some that we're not attached to at the hip. We have no relations with them. But with Bruno, we did.
But with Bruno, we had a relationship with him
I haven't heard back from him.
because he was at the BGG Spring of 2023.
He mega gamed with us.
Had a fantastic time.
We've gamed with some people.
And then it's kind of like, some people will email, they interact a lot, and then no more.
I think he had his fill.
Frankie of the North,
What happened to him?
no more, gone. I don't know.
Is he all right?
I don't know.
I need to check on him.
I don't know.
I hope he's okay.
All them guys from Super Bowl Sunday, I don't know. They're gone.
I'll be hitting walled himself off.
We can talk about I got you. Just through time, and that's the thing with the podcast, is that we progress. People may come and go.
But we stay the same.
We stay the same. But I miss them. I remember them.
I do too. That was a terrible podcast, that Super Bowl Sunday, but I'll listen to it.
That was because Christopher, you talking about when we went on their show?
No, not their show. I like their podcast a lot. It was really good.
When we went on their show, Christian tried to, I don't know, but it was like echoing. Okay, we're really getting off base here. This was Back to Basics Part 2.
Yeah.
Banter segment.
Banter.
Followed by trivia segment.
We did it.
Have we done movies yet? Have you watched any good movies lately? You discussed Encanto with Bruno references.
I didn't mean to. but
Bruno, email us. Let us know what you're doing. Bruno's a movie man. The writer, the SAG after has been on
Do
strike.
you think he sagged?
I think he's on strike.
That's why he hasn't wrote us, because he can't write.
He cannot.
You can't write. Now,
You know what's weird is when I listen to podcasts that have actors and actresses on them, under the strike, they could not reference any movie they've been in.
No, and here's the thing that I think
was interesting.
our listeners should know. Since the writer's strike, if they'll go back, they'll realize that's when this podcast has gone down, because many people in the past have accused us as being professional level comedians. It's because we have a team of writers. And one of those writers is Enrique. And since then, he's been on strike, and he has not wrote any of the typical banter nor comical sayings that we generally have. So thus, this is why the podcast has seemingly gone down in quality. It will continue to go down in quality until this writer strike has resolved.
I would venture to say,
Please do.
with just the two of us, as Will Smith once so elegantly put it, it's a little bit smoother.
It is. I don't miss Enrique. If he were to,
There's not so much talking over each other.
he's very.
Me and you kind of jive back and forth.
It's not. Yes, and Enrique.
He's the chaos factor. Just admit it.
Listen, I love.
And we are
I love Enrique as a person,
obviously.
but as a business partner, as a third, as a Larry to our Mo
I
and
was
Curly.
just literally fixing to call him the Curly Joe.
Exactly. He does not. He has a certain je ne sais quoi that does not fit in with our qua.
That's why I'm saying he's the chaos factor.
He is. He is chaos.
He's a nice. I love Enrique.
Oh.
But
He's the
me
Jeff
and you,
Goldblum.
me and you, man, me and you to the end.
Jurassic Park.
But throwing Enrique, and he always sides with you on everything.
Oh, Enrique.
Or he's sitting there trying to analyze me and my problems.
Which he has no qualifications to do.
There's several podcasts where we're talking about some serious like mental issues and problems, and he's like trying to I'm like, Enrique.
He doesn't even have a driver's license.
Enrique, you don't have a driver's license.
What's he doing here?
You play video games at your mama's the whole time.
The Destiny 2.
But see, that's no reason I shouldn't shame him.
You
for
shouldn't
that.
shame him, and I'm really
And I'm
upset
quite jealous.
that you shame him.
I wish I just played video games and still with my mom, but she's dead.
You bring that up quite often.
And thus, I spiraled into a deep depression afterwards.
Yes. And
Anxiety ensued.
started a podcast.
Some of the darkest days of my life, but
Still-
yet here I am.
pushing through it.
Pushing through it.
And I don't see why this is a lit banter section.
Push it.
Push it real good is what I say.
This has been quite funny, and others will deem it as so as well.
There's no one does what Board Game Snobs do better. They are almost professional level comedians.
I mean, who else? Dan, the man, Cora Quest Hughes
I hate that man.
of Dice Tower and sporadically
They're-
board fame.
They're translating Core Quest into Arabic and Latin and all these various languages now, which
It's a worldwide smash hit.
yes, but that's not my point.
And Cora deserves all the credit.
Yes, because Dan did nothing with that.
What did he do?
He didn't do anything. If it wasn't for Cora and the other people who did the artwork and all that, and his connection, Dan.
Don't besmirch Dan. He's my guy.
I'm not going to smirch him.
Don't besmirch him.
I'm not going to besmirch him. I'm just saying it's very telling that his success is off the back of child labor is not outlawed in Britain. I don't think. I feel a little bit guilty thinking about how many hours Cora must have worked and Evan must have worked on that game in some dark, dingy room where Dan and his narcissistic self went along with that. And
I don't know that I should allow you to say these smirching words
I'm not
about
smirching. I'm just saying I don't know what the child labor laws are in Huddersfield.
Dan. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. You can't look it up. They don't have internet over there in Britain.
I do have a question for Dan in regards to Call the Midwife. I've got to ask him, and I'm not going to bring it up on this podcast. It'll be on the next podcast when you're gone, and it's just me and Dan having a good old time.
I forbade it. There's no more of this guest starring unless I'm on.
Dan will be my man.
You do it while we're gone to BGG, which me and Enrique will be at BGG November 14th or 15th. I can't remember when it starts. That Wednesday.
November 14th is a Tuesday because that's my 25th anniversary. So I don't think it's then.
It's the 15th.
It starts on Wednesday.
Yes, you will not be there.
So November 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and then closing out the 19th.
Yes, and the 18th is Saturday, which will be the mega game, which me and Enrique will be at again.
I'm going to be there as well.
I don't think you'll be there that Saturday.
I'm going to be there. You told me to
I
show
just
up.
said that me and Enrique will be at the mega game Saturday.
You asked me to show up
And
Friday
now
night.
I'm asking you not to come because we're going to be
That's
at the
all I
mega
need to
game.
know.
Okay, I'm making sure you know because there's no reason. Because
I was going to join the big game because remember I fell in love with it.
But you have a ticket. You get a ticket and show up. We can do it.
You don't. Oh, that's right. I don't have a ticket.
Get a ticket. Use that Patreon money.
Serious question. Why don't these cons do a day pass?
Because they're a con. Con! Yeah, it's a con.
It irritates me. Like, I don't have the money to
Because
show up for
they
3 days at
know-
$150.
They know that you're not going to come to a con. People who are going to come to a con are going to come all week.
But I just need Saturday.
I know, but you can't.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either, but that's where we're at these days.
It bothers me.
Well, you can be bothered. Or you could
I
just
am
show
bothered.
up and not say anything.
But if they check my wristband,
They won't check your
I
wristband.
won't see it there.
Just walk in
Joaquin Phoenix.
and be like, I've risen from the ashes. But just do it. Nobody will know.
No, I don't know.
Unless you get banned, a permanent ban for life, which that would just elevate this
would be bad.
podcast to amazing heights. You know who would come into a place like that without paying for it? A scoundrel. Which reminds me of the game we played here recently, 3,000 Scoundrels, which I purchased at the Greyland, Greyjoy, whatever you
The
call it.
Gilded Greyland, spelled G, not ILDED. Like the British, they put a U in
There's a
it.
U.
The GUILDED, Greyland.
Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Shawnee, Oklahoma. Visit it. It's a nice place.
And Matthew, while discussing with him, I wanted to buy the #1 selling game in their shop, which I did. And I will tell you about that later.
Okay.
Because I've played it and it's wonderful. It's called Mountain Goats. I'm spoiling it. It's a family level game that is basically can't stop for families. It's great. Mountain Goats. Can't remember the publisher off the top of my head. And I also purchased a game for which Matthew said is one of his favorites, which is a game that I've been desperately wanting to play by designer Corey Konieczka, 3,000 Scoundrels, which is a game which has obviously had its theme tacked on after the mechanics, I believe, because the theme is some time traveler has come back to the Old West, accidentally lost a bunch of valuable items from the future, and now a bunch of scoundrels or cowboys, outlaws, are trying to break into various areas and steal those items before the federal government shows up and takes them. In 3,000 Scoundrels refers to the 3,000 different variations of the cards, which has those. What did I say the name of that game was? It has the cards where you build the cards.
I believe it was Mystic Veil
Yes.
is the one you guessed.
Where you slide the card into and over a clear cover and it changes the card. So in 3,000 Scoundrels, basically on your turn, all you're doing is activating by placing down a card into a row and claiming that this card, which are all happen to be playing cards, and like ace, 2, diamonds, so forth, represent whatever card you want it to be, and then activating the various powers that you have there, and then perhaps buying one of these scoundrels that gives you even more powers. What I like about this game is, one, there's 3,000 different variations you're probably never going to come across, and each the same thing again. That's neat. I think that was a gimmick at first.
It kind of is
feels
the gimmick
gimmicky.
because you might put this person with this ability and it changes it up slightly. Okay, you can give it to them.
I do like the fact that you're not going to be able to play this game the same way, and it's just so. For in terms of replayability, yes, that's very interesting. There are certain facets about this game that I thought were very interesting because deep down, this is kind of a bluffing game, but it's a different type of bluffing. And so one of the reasons I was very interested in this game is because Corey Konieczka has designed some of the best games or been a part of the development of some of the best games ever, especially when you work with Fantasy Flight, from Star Wars Rebellion to Twilight Imperium, all these various games that he's had a hand in, and some of my favorites. I believe he even helped with Game of Thrones. So during this game, when you're laying cards down, you can simply decide that the player who is now claiming, when you play your card face down onto a row and saying, oh, this is the 2 of diamonds, to activate this row. That doesn't mean it has to be a 2 of diamonds. You can just lie about it. So the other players can then call you out. And in your hand of cards, you only have 7 cards. And everybody kind of knows what you played the previous round. So if you're a type of person that plays the game, kind of like counting cards like I do, you kind of know what the other player has played already. So you can kind of suss out, are they lying? And thus you can put one of your little scoundrel tokens over there immediately and call them out on it. Kind of like coup, sort of.
Okay, yes, coup, but the game it more reminded me of, for some reason, is the basic card game Baloney.
I've never played
Or
Baloney.
BS.
I've never
as some
played
people might
Baloney.
say.
I've never played Baloney.
Really?
Never heard.
It's a basic card game.
Was he?
It's really fun.
You say basic.
I mean, a 52 card deck.
When you say basic.
I mean that it's just a 52 card deck.
Okay, so how do you play it?
You have a group of people, however many there are, 1 through, say, 4. Let's just say 4 for basic sake.
Just keep going.
You start off saying, I'm playing this many 2s. I'm playing this many 3s. I'm playing this many 4s. And you have to play that amount of cards as you go in a circle. You can't skip. So when it gets back to you, you may not have any 2, 3, 4, 5. You may not have any 6s. So you're going to just lay down 2 cards of whatever value and say, these are 2 6s. And if no one calls you on it, you're good to go. But if someone says baloney,
Wait.
if you say that, the game is to get rid of all your cards first.
Gotcha.
It's the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Well, Sheriff of Nottingham's smuggling. But in Baloney, I guess what you're saying is that, but there's no evidence. Your information's hidden, though.
Right. This game does not have any of the penalties that game has. It's just the lying factor reminded me of, I'm playing this 2 of hearts, when in fact it may or may not be the 2 of hearts.
So the 2 things that come to mind on this 3,000 Scoundrels is, one, I didn't quite understand the bluffing mechanism of it, but until we really got deep into the game, which this game plays really fast. I don't know if you realize this. I taught you this game, and we played it, a long game.
It's a very nice, simple game.
In an hour and a half.
As far as learning and playing.
Yes, hour and a half. The various cards, the rules are there.
I would say you taught me this game in like 5 minutes or less.
It's quick.
It's very smooth in that regard. The rules are simple, and guess what it has?
Player aid.
A player aid.
And it's very intuitive.
That gives you step by step what you have to do. Every game should have a player aid.
Well, this game has a player aid.
Are you yawning?
I did yawn because...
Are you tired or bored with your own discussion?
I'm bored by your...
It's me. So it's coming at me?
Yes, I am.
It's coming at me.
Okay.
So if I shut up, will you suddenly not be bored?
No.
You'll be enthralled with your own commentary.
Not what I'm saying. I'm saying is that if Enrique was here, Enrique would be inciting me to point out that sometimes you prattle on about player aids, but he's not here.
So everyone needs to know because they're not doing it still.
I know. I understand. Your crusade's about player aids. Play your aid. That's all you do is sit over there at Board Game Design Shop. Play your aid.
Call me.
I don't think that came out. I don't think that came out just right.
I'll probably cut that.
Don't cut that because that's amazing. That is amazing. And you should. You should be about aiding others, but not in that sense. So at 3,000 Scoundrels.
Farm aid.
Yes. Farm aid.
YouTube?
Don't like them as much. They're very pompous.
YouTube?
No, not YouTube.
You talking about Bono?
Bono.
Why do you think he's pompous? Just because he wears his big glasses and thinks he's saving the world
like
and hunger and everything
Did
else?
you hear that joke that he had when he was on stage? Oh, it wasn't a joke, but it was that story that got told about Bono being on stage. I don't know if it's true, but it's like he had one of his concerts and he quieted the crowd down. He was clapping his hands. And he kept just standing there making the crowd be very quiet. He'd clap his hands. To finally, he said, every time I clap my hands, a child in Africa dies. And then some like letting him know that in Africa there's always somebody dying. And some guy in the crowd yells, "Well, stop clapping your hands." So that lives rent free. That's I don't know if that story's true, but I like to think that it is. So I know
That is so good.
because Bono has the power to kill people.
That is.
Anyways, 3,000 Scoundrels is a great, great. Matthew, we used to. That's not that funny. Oh my god, it's just not that funny. It's not that. It's not that fun. It's not that funny.
You know how you just get to this point? It's just like you can't. Oh my god.
Because it's Bono. And really, I mean, get you, man. It's not that. But listen.
We gotta pull it together.
Okay, we're professionals.
Oh. Okay.
So 3,000 Scoundrels was the name. The company that made it is
3,000.
3,000 is the new company that Corey Konieczka works for after he left Fantasy Flight, which did the Initiative and several others. But right now, I would say that what makes this game special is that whole bluffing aspect. And so if you're a fan of Mystic Vale and of just quick, interesting card games that have infinite replayability, or at least, 3,000 times. So I think Enrique, when he gets back from Mexico, is really going to like this game because he loves that combo engine builder type thing because you can do that with these. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I've been wanting to play this game for quite some time. Matthew there at the Gilded Greyjoy recommended it. He doesn't listen to this podcast. He doesn't care. But maybe Christopher will tell him about it. But I thoroughly love this game. Like I'm sure.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, you're really going on about it now.
I think when we replay it with more people, because I think with us two playing it, I think it was interesting. But I think with more players,
Yeah, I think a bluffing game is always. I have started a cramp in my
did you laugh so hard
that I could.
Okay, I know.
My stomach is wanting to cramp, and I do not have abs, so therefore this is a new sensation.
How did you?
Oh my god.
Elevation. That's a YouTube song. A new sensation.
Okay.
What are you cramping in your abdomen?
There's a muscle there somewhere
Adipose
beneath the
tissue?
fat. Yes. It's way down deep.
Your psoas. Maybe it's just your fascia.
Okay.
Are you okay?
I need to stretch it out.
Okay, stretch that out. Do we need to stop?
I know. I just have to sit like this.
We had emails we were going to read.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, all right. And Gabi's stretching. I'll read some emails that we were going to.
Right here.
That's very interesting. Where did we leave off at? Christopher says that. Wow. He says Rush Hour 2 was better. Okay. Ryan Maxwell says format change. Here's the deal.
We did that last podcast. Skip.
Oh, okay. What about Sam Rouleau?
That one we did not read.
You could be talking about snake rectum, how to eat mac and cheese with a spoon, stories of healthcare hero deeds, which is me, or why Bigfoot most likely doesn't exist, and I would still be there. Sure, it's nice to have a word or two sometimes about games, but I wouldn't complain. So he's all pro our format. Don Gilstrap, that's the chicken guy. He's all about board games. Hassan Dervish. I never can say his name right. P.S. I want to hear Enrique's list of the 3 worst games he's played and why. Oh, no. It's Hassan. I'm on episode 161. I would still like some time dedicated to board games. They don't even have to be new. Yeah, that's true. See? I love how Jerry describes/reviews board games. Measured, balanced, intellectual, and all infused with zeal and passion.
There's a point for you. Is that how we're measuring things?
Hassan.
Is he your new favorite listener?
I never knew you.
I never knew ye.
I never knew you cared so much. This is my new slogan. Measured, balanced, intellectual. I'm not going to read the rest because it was directed towards you. Let's see. Anthony Salavago. Just want to say that I love the podcast and could care less whether you dive deep into board games. Yeah, there is. There's too many. Your podcast is fresh, funny, and endearing because you all have a unique chemistry. I truly get a dopamine shot when I see a new episode of my feed. I would listen to you guys talk about paint choices for your kitchen. We went with eggshell wine.
Gray.
No, gray's out. I didn't know
Is
that.
it out?
Gray's out. It used to be gray
I
and
thought
white.
it was so gray.
No, it went out. It's out.
No
There's
more joy in the gray.
no 50 Shades of it either. It's out. It's really more.
What is it now? Earth tones?
Sort of. But like we went with white because it's timeless.
Classic.
Aside from that, I might be biased because I've become disenchanted with the hobby. Oh no, Anthony!
no,
I'm calling
Anthony.
Tony. While I still enjoy playing games, I tend not to keep up with what's new and happening. Oh yeah, well that's just the content, Anthony. I'm disenchanted. I mean, I don't even know enchanted with my.
Amy Adams?
I love that show. Yeah, I'm disenchanted with it. I don't keep up with the happenings. I just like to play the games.
I don't have time.
Larissa Copeland. Copeland. That makes me laugh every time because people think that's where you go to cope.
Copeland.
I know I usually make it to BGG Con in Dallas, but I was wondering if you have plans to come to Token Con? Is that like a marijuana thing?
I don't know.
In Oklahoma City, March 15th through the 17th. They're estimating 700 people this year. Ricky could get his Freddy's fix. Freddy's the creamery place.
I was about to say, I don't know what Freddie's, I don't know what she's talking about right now.
Freddy's Creamery. Well, if you listen to the podcast, I took Enrique to Freddy's. It's an old fashioned kind of like Steak and Shake.
Oh.
P.S. I adore the podcast. They're million podcasts that cover board games. My husband and I listen for y'all's person. See, people love us. Larissa loves us.
We're adorable.
We need to go to Token Con.
We should. When is it?
March. I just said it. 15th.
Okay. Wait, when?
March.
Okay. I'll put that in my journal. Make a note.
Either way, I think that we have done a fantastic job discussing this board game, 3,000 Scoundrels,
I didn't really discuss it. You did most of the talking.
which is how I prefer it, really.
Here's what I liked about the game.
Oh, you going to do that?
I'm going to do what I liked about it. I like that I can call you out on your... whenever you play your card face down and say, this is a 2.
You're baloney.
I put my little token on saying, I don't believe that one. And you say, this is a 3. I don't believe that one. So pretty much anytime Jerry laid down a card, I wanted to put a token down.
Token Con.
The problem is deciphering. When is he lying? I don't know. I just put it down when I thought a card would really be beneficial to Jerry.
And I'm picking up what you're putting down because I think one of the things about this game that I enjoyed was the scoring aspect of it. So you're trying to figure out, because you're stealing safes. The idea of the game is that you're using your Scoundrels to steal safes. We played the long game, which is 3 days, and you could only basically, at the end of the game, have 3 safes. You know how high the safes can go. There's safes removed from the game, so it might be the high safe is missing. But one of the moves that you can make is get to peek at one of these safes, and then you have to place a token declaring a number so that the other players can figure out whether or not the value of that safe. So between, like, say, 2 and 7. So I look at a safe, I then have a token that I must put out there. I could be lying, or I could be telling the truth. I can say that this safe, which I looked and saw was a 7, I can put a 2 out there and say, oh, this safe is a 2. There's a lot of bluffing that way because now you have to wait till it gets back to your turn for you to try to steal that safe. So a lot of players, the little rule that it has is that if the token on that safe is correct, that safe goes up in value. If it's incorrect, then it just stays whatever value it was. That's a neat little scoring mechanism that you're basically kind of like deal or no deal type thing I said when we were teaching it, that you have to open these different briefcases. Well, you're trying to open these certain safes and get those 3 best high-ranking safes to your player board without letting the other players know, hey, this is suspicious. There's just...
It's got its nuance.
There's just... You really...
It's a game of nuance. In the cards you play, I might be bluffing, I may not. In the safes you check out, I might be bluffing, I might not.
That's basically should be the name of this game. I might be bluffing.
I might be bluffing. The theme, completely non-existent. It's going to beat anything.
This is obviously a game that was pieced together mechanics first, and then they went and said, okay, what can we do?
I like the art.
I love the art. Art's very nice.
It's very nice.
Art Linkletter.
It is not Great Western Trail as far as theme. You don't feel like I'm walking into the saloon and finding these technologies and these safes. You feel none of that.
There's androids.
It almost feels like...
And holograms.
What's the kids' game where you lay down all the cards and then you have to match these things together? It's a matchup. Like, I need to, but there's a 2 off here in the right-hand corner, 3 rows up. Now there's a 2 down here, 5 rows down
I
to the
have no
right.
idea what this game is.
It's just called like matching or something. That's kind of what this game is, because like, no, it is not. Ignore everything I just said. The only thing is that you have these face down cards. So I may have put this token on there and said it's a 2. Did I say it's a 2 because it is a 2? Or did I say it's a 2 because it's a 6 and I don't want you to get that high ranking safe?
So you're trying to throw it's a game of throwing off the opponents.
Correct.
But all the information out there is, I almost said deductible. That's not right. Deducible?
It is deducible because you have...
When I say deducible, I think there's 2s.
Right. You have a set amount of cards that everyone has.
Yes, 7.
0 to 6 plus an ace. 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an ace.
Yes.
Everyone has the same amount of cards. So if you pay attention to what everyone plays, which is hard.
It's not hard. I do it.
It can be.
It can be.
It can be.
But it's deducible.
It is deducible. So you can keep track of, oh, he played that last time. What are the odds? But each next round, they're able to draw up a card from randomly from the set they just played.
Correct.
So it kind of randomizes the cards played.
You have to know when to hold them.
You do have to know when to hold them, and then when to play them, and then when to lie about where you're placing them. The player board is nice. I like the fact that it's not just straight bluffing. There's a aspect of the game where you're purchasing the Scoundrels, and you can purchase these effects that chain off of each other. Get some combos going that give you the money.
Enrique will love this game when he gets back from Mexico.
Or you can just get safes, which safes are points in the game. There's it's what gets me. This game has 2 factors to it. It's a bluffing game, and it's a combo game with the Scoundrels. You want to combo these cards off of each other. To me, that's the whole thing, is comboing these cards and playing them you have to play them in a certain way on your board where in fact they do combo.
Because you didn't combo.
I failed to pay attention to where I was placing them on the board, and I blew it on getting them to combo.
I comboed.
So there's 3 or 4 big factors to this game.
Combo number 5.
That's a good one.
Had Marisa, and she was up and left, and then Larissa, a little bit of Angeline.
Monica was
by my side, because she was I was buying.
So
I noticed. Did you notice that all my cards I bought were women?
So
you bought none.
The fact that I had a horse.
Women. I love women. How dare you?
There was one.
How dare you?
I like the plastic cards that can interchange with the card behind them. That's interesting. The player board, we have these cards that can combo off each other.
Why the long face?
Depending on where you place them. That's interesting. The card game down below, ace 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can lie about them, and where you place them triggers an effect. That's interesting. The safes on the board, you can lie about them. That's interesting. This game, I'm trying to think of a negative about this game.
Okay, so here's one thing I'll say about the negative, and I have to dig deep for a negative in this game. Well, 2 things. One, the theme is kind of the theme was there for the artwork, and 2, this game doesn't do any one thing amazingly. It does everything very lightly, which is why it was so easy to teach. And the strategy is not apparent. So there's a watch it played video, which Rodney does a great job. And then the other 2 people on Watch It Played that I never really get to remember their name, they actually play a game of it. It's very interesting to watch. So if you're looking for something more in depth, go ahead and watch that. But even when I watched the Watch It Played video, I could not figure out exactly what the hook of the game was. I had to actually play it. And as soon as we started playing it, I realized, oh, okay, so that's why. Okay, so this makes sense now with your 7 cards that you're trying to play, why it's so important to be able to call people's bluffing, and how that would be magnified in a 3 or 4 player game, and why it's so interesting about the various Scoundrels that are coming out, why you want to be able to buy a Scoundrel and play them a certain way and really build your engine, so to speak. Very interesting. There's nothing that this game does incredibly well, but everything that it does is innovative. Like I think that's what got me about this game. There's nothing that I can compare it to, that I can think of in terms of actual gameplay.
That's what I was going to say is, like many games before it, most games nowadays It's just a pick a mechanism, throw it in, pick a mechanism, throw it in, pick a mechanism, throw it in, swirl them up. That's my new game.
Right. This scene, and Corey Konieczka does a great job at taking something. I don't know if it's him. It has to be, because we've seen this quality in so many different games of his from Fantasy Flight, which makes me want to play the Initiative now, which is another one of his games that was released after Fantasy Flight, because he will take a game and he can distill down exactly what he wants from it and then turn it into something that's interesting. I like Star Wars Rebellion is another one that comes to mind because he worked on that game as well. That could be a very simple, straightforward, do this, do that, hidden movement game. But
Like Letters from Whitechapel meets X-Wing.
right. But instead, he made it this way to where it really does feel like you're trying to tell this little story in the Star Wars universe, and each side is so well balanced.
Yeah.
I think that's what gets me about this game is that this game is surprisingly balanced because I felt like I was killing you this entire game, and it turned out 20-18. The points in this game are so tight.
That's what I was going to say is taking these various mechanisms and making them work smoothly with one another, and they seem balanced with one another. That's the key to most modern games today, because all games today, there are some people, Reiner Knizia might be he's the one guy that can figure out a new freaking way to make a bidding game or an auction game that I just cannot comprehend how he keeps making these, but yet he does, and it blows my mind every time. But most games today, it's very rare you get a mechanism that's ingenious or new.
So, and this is what I will say, and to make the comparison, because I know you like movies, I think that Corey Konieczka is like a young Reiner Knizia. Not because their names rhymed, which I just realized till now. But I think that he's doing something very similar to Reiner. Reiner's taking lighter games, putting a twist on them. Corey Konieczka is taking much heavier games and trying to go, okay, how can I put this twist and make it something innovative? And sometimes it completely fails. Like Discoveries was one of the worst games I've ever played. Absolutely hated that game. But yet, for every one of his games that's bombed, I can think of 3 more that were just awesome. So he's able to take the old tired way of doing things and then saying, okay, this is the twist. Kind of like how Kubrick did back in the 80s and 90s. It's the same way that Christopher Nolan does now. They see something and go, okay, instead of just telling this regular basic story, I'm going to mess with it a little bit. And this is the style that I'm putting forth. I think Corey's, again, he's always been in my top 5 of designers, which, spoiler alert, we need to do a podcast on our top 5.
I'm sure we'll do that someday.
Anyway, someday, 3,000 Scoundrels. I really liked it, but I'm going to hold off until Enrique plays it. Because
One thumb from Jerry, one thumb from me. That's 2 thumbs up.
But we're missing 2 other thumbs.
We need another thumb.
I wish he'd quit sitting on them. Enrique's still down in Mexico enjoying the sun, which he's not the sun.
He doesn't.
He's at the Golden Parnassus. I think that's the name of the place. I don't know what a Parnassus is. Parn? Like Parmesan? Wouldn't that be interesting if he was at some sort of cheese resort? That would just be him.
That would be typical.
Parnassus. Parmesan is actually on the carnivore diet. I'm able to eat that. I love Parmesan.
Chicky, parm. You can't have because that's got fried chicken in it. Fried goods.
I'm trying to avoid them.
Avoid them. All right. Until next time.
Send us an email, boardgamesnobs@gmail.com. And if you're going to be at BGG or you want us to play something at BGG, send us an email. I'll be there. Or don't.
Or no, do.
I should live stream
Not
at
do,
BGG.
but just, I was
I
emphasizing
might do something interesting at BGG. We might live stream.
You will never do that because you're too busy doing other stuff. You're very enraptured at BGG. You're like a whole different person there.
I am.
You are.
People know me from there.
So
People think that I'm hateful.
I'm going to try to attempt to show up Friday evening and Saturday. Although I don't know if it's worth it if you're just going to be in the
mega
Den of
game.
Wolves the whole time.
And we will. We'll be at the Den of Wolves the whole time.
But you're the one that asked me to come up Friday night.
I didn't know that it was going to be my Den of Wolves. And Enrique loves Den of Wolves. And you know what? I really like it.
But now that I understand Den of Wolves, I thought about joining again.
Why
to
don't
see
you
if,
just show up at the Den of Wolves?
I just thought,
And don't buy a ticket.
But then I got to pay.
Be a bad boy, don't buy a ticket.
Be a bad boy.
Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do?
What we're going to do is in this podcast.
DMX would say, X gonna give it to you. Well, didn't he do the soundtrack to Bad Boys? I'm pretty sure he did.
The soundtrack to it. Maybe he had contributed a song. I'm sure he contributed a song because that was in the early 90s, early to mid. No, that was the mid 90s to late 90s, early 2000s.
I just remember that soundtrack.
They came out with a Bad Boys 3.
Bad Boys 2 soundtrack, released July 15, 2003. It peaked at number 1 on the Billboard 200.
It was lit.
It was, as some say, lit. P. Diddy also was an executive producer, and it included the
Didn't the same people that sang Insane in the Membrane sing Bad Boys?
Insane in the Membrane? I don't know. Let's look at the track list, shall we? The intro, let's see. Show Me Your Soul, performed by P. Diddy, Lenny Kravitz,
Cypress Hill sang Insane in
and
the Membrane.
Pharrell Williams. Good Night. Not Suge Knight. La La La, performed by Jay-Z. Shake Ya Tail Feathers by Nelly.
I was way off. Bad Boys is sang by Inner Circle.
P. Diddy. Yeah, that was like a deep track. And Murphy Lee. That was who I remember. Murphy Lee. Girl, I'm Your Bad Boy by Fat Joe and P. Diddy featuring Dre. Well,
Fat Joe doesn't make music anymore.
he's dead, isn't he?
No, that's Big Pun.
Keep Giving Me Your Love was performed by Beyonce. Notorious B.I.G. and 50 Cent
Wow.
had a track that I will not pronounce because it would be inappropriate. Snoop Dogg
Got choked up on
and
that
Justin Timberlake. Who is Loon? Mary J. Blige. Who are all these people that are like
I'm
these?
telling you,
The
that's a smash hit soundtrack right there.
Jerry Bruckheimer. I know him. He's the producer.
He's in the Guild of Jerry's.
There aren't that many good Jerrys. There really isn't.
I'm not sure Bruckheimer's one of them.
No. What?
Gone in 60 Seconds. Really?
Oh my.
You like Gone in 60 Seconds?
I love Gone in 60
Of course you do.
Do you? The person who likes Fast and the Furious and you're hating on Gone in 60 Seconds? I cannot believe you would say something like that. Oh my. Okay.
It deserves a rewatch. I'll have to rewatch it.
It hurt me for a second that you're like Gone in 60 seconds.
All I remember
Let
is
me
the
name
cheesiness.
some things for.
I can just see Nicolas Cage going,
I need you to stop for
Let's
a second.
go.
Let me just name some things for you. I'm going to say some things.
say words.
Pirates of the Caribbean, National Treasure, Top Gun Maverick, National Treasures 3, Bad Boys, the original Top Gun. These are all associated with Jerry Bruckheimer. All right. The Rock, The Lone Ranger,
Okay.
Beverly Hills Cop,
Okay.
Armageddon,
You've sold me. You know
Con
what?
Air,
I was wrong.
Poor Harvard.
Wait. Basically, everything Michael Bay has done, Jerry
Days of Thunder,
Bruckheimer has produced.
Crimson
I know that.
Tide, Black Hawk
Crimson
Down,
Tide. That's a good one. Oh, wow.
Deja Vu. That was like one of my favorite.
He's a good producer.
12 Strong, Enemy of the State,
Not so good.
Coyote.
Enemy of the
Enemy of the
State?
State was.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Coyote Ugly.
I've never seen that.
Remember the Titans.
Although I know it does star Piper Peralbo.
Remember the Titans. I love Piper. King Arthur. Flashdance. Kangaroo Jack.
Okay, wait. Okay. I recant my words about Jerry Bruckheimer. I love, and I have no explanation as to why I love middle-aged, dark age movies. I love King Arthur.
It has, what's her face in it?
The girl from
Yes.
Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley. Who was in Phantom
Clive
Menace?
Owen.
She was Phantom Menace.
And Mr. Fantastic.
Rouge. I love that show.
And the bad guys.
Yes. Yes.
King Arthur is a terrible,
It's
terrible movie.
It's terrible.
But I can watch that every time it comes
So
on TV.
awful. It's got Mags Mendelsohn.
Yes.
Yes.
My God. I'm going to
Such
go watch
a
it right
terrible
now.
Show. Shut this off.
I got to go watch it. All right. That's going to do it for this episode.
I think about Romans all the time. All the time I'm thinking about Rome.
You should get.
Every day I think about Rome. That's just how I am. And that's what King Arthur's based on, is the Romans. Did you not know that?
I know what King Arthur is based on. He's a Roman, and that's when they went and started Britain.
Yes, which
Yes.
is where Huddleston's at, or
Huddersfield.
that's what I meant.
Tim Huddleston.
That's where
Tim Huddersfield
Dan
is from.
lives. Is with Huddleston.
Dan the man.
He lives with Loki.
All right. Well,
He's
that's going to do
basically
it for
the evil
this
Jerry.
more focused episode
This
of
is
the
a
Board Game
great
Snobs.
episode.
We were-
3,000 Scoundrels.
I think we were fantastic.
I am every day. We
And
miss
you know what?
Enrique.
You
Come
know
on.
who else thinks we were?
There's no one does what Board Game Snobs do better. They are almost professional level comedians.
You said it, Dan.
No one can say it better. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tolerating this episode of the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.